Well, I'm back. Listen carefully, Malachite. I've been patient with you, and you owe me a favor. I need you to use the grapple to pull something out of the River Ankh. I don't know for sure what it is, but it's big. Too big for me to lift. But you could do it, and I figure you owe me one.
Found Therma?
Look, Therma is dead. Remember? We found her in the mausoleum.
Not Therma. Therma alive. Find Therma.
Look, she is dead. Get used to it.
Not dead. Find Therma.
All right, you big dumb troll. I'll carry on looking for Therma if you help me get this thing out of the river. Do we have a deal?
I pull thing. You find Therma.
Yes. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. Or something. Whatever you want scratched, within reason.
Don't want scratching. Find Therma.
Okay. You pull thing, I find Therma. Got it?
Need grapple.
That may be the first intelligent thing you've said to me. Ready now?
You lead.
With pleasure. I hadn't been able to move whatever it was in the river. Malachite pulled it up onto the bridge like it was made of paper. I wasn't surprised to learn it was Regin's carriage, but it still wasn't clear how it ended up going off the bridge. Amidst the wreckage, I found a small ornamental box. But before I could examine it in detail, Malachite took an interest. I didn't want to give it to him, but he looked like he'd rupture a fault line if I didn't. He kept insisting that the box proved that Therma was alive, or at least that's my best interpretation of what he was trying to say. With his usual annoying habit, Malachite just walked off, taking the box with him. That left me to get back to my usual habit of not really knowing what was going on. The carcass of Regin's carriage lay on the bridge like a beached whale. I searched it, but I'd already found everything of interest. The remains of a crate was all that was left. There was no doubt that it was Regin. And there was no doubt that he was dead. The poor sap must have suffocated in the Ankh. I searched Regin's body, but all I found was a pair of tiny bite marks on his ankle. Either he'd been bitten by a snake or a very small vampire. I considered using the crowbar on Regin. What can I say? I'm a violent man at heart. I had a feeling there was something about Regin that could use prizing off. But I also had a feeling that I wouldn't need the crowbar to do it. One thing had been bugging me since I'd found Regin's body. In the iconograph that the Count had given me, Regin was bald. Here, in the flesh, Regin had a full head of hair. I had to pull hard on his toupee to get it off. Regin must have glued it on to stop it from flying off as he drove the carriage. Underneath the toupee was a small key. I guess it must have been important, or he wouldn't have glued it to his head. I suspected that Regin was poisoned, and I was willing to bet the bite marks on his ankles had a lot to do with that. Carlotta had been the last person to see Regin alive. That made me suspicious. If I had worked everything out correctly, the von Uberwald crate had been the crate on Regin's carriage.